Good evening, everyone. This is Melinda Russell, and this is the Masterclass series. We are here today with Breanna O'Leary. She is involved in motorsports, and she has a great career, and we're going to talk to her a little bit about how she got to where she is, why she loves motorsports, why it's a good plan for girls to get involved. So I guess it actually is afternoon where she is. It's morning where I am. So, good afternoon, Breanna. Welcome.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you on the show. So, I've kind of followed you a little bit. I found you. Somebody mentioned to me about you on Facebook, so I looked you up, and I know that you're involved in motorsports quite a bit. But first, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, your family, where you live, that kind of thing.
Okay. Well, I'm from Amarillo, Texas. So I'm living in Charlotte, North Carolina now. So that's just a big difference, just the landscape. But I am the youngest of three. I have a brother and a sister, both older than me. They're 6 years and 5 years older than me. So sometimes they like to joke around that I was a surprise.
I was
But
a surprise too. My sisters are 6 and 7 years older than me, so I get.
okay. Yeah, my dad was like, "Well, you were a good surprise." Um, but so I grew up in Amarillo, Texas. I actually lived in the same house my whole life. My mom still lives there now. But I was always very active. I played every sport I could get into. But as I got older, I focused more on softball and tennis. Um, so then I ended up playing softball through college on a softball scholarship. So I played 2 years at Frank Phillips College in Border, Texas. It was like an hour from home. And then I went on to Alcorn State University in Mississippi to play my last 2 years and finish out my bachelor's degree. And then it just a really cool opportunity kind of formed in front of me. I was the graduate assistant for our strength and conditioning coach over at Alcorn. So I've always been around sports. Motorsports is a new field for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you graduated. What was your degree when you graduated?
My bachelor's I got is general studies with a focus in social work and sociology. My actual I was going for social work, a bachelor's of social work, but I was a fifth year senior at the time, so I was kind of getting to be assistant coach for the softball team. So it was my last semester, and it was either do a full time internship or switch to general studies and get a coach, coach this team and travel and be on the road and be involved. So ultimately, I decided, that was the direction, more for me was to end up switching to general studies.
Okay.
So,
And did you enjoy coaching the team?
oh yeah, I loved it because I also played with most of those girls too. So yeah, it was a lot of fun.
And what position did you play in softball?
In college, I played first base and outfield.
Okay.
Growing up, I always played middle infield, and then when I got to high school, we had like an older varsity team. So my coach threw me a first baseman mitt and was like, "Learn how to use it." So but I fell in love with first base, and then when I got to college, my coach put me in outfield, and I didn't really like it at all.
Yeah.
But I was
It's a
out there
whole
for
different
3 years.
perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, especially because I had never played outfield growing up. So my senior year of college, I got to go back to first base, and so I was happy.
Good.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. Hmm.
So tell me a little bit about what you're doing now. I know you live in North Carolina, so tell me, why did you move there, and tell me how you got involved in motorsports.
So I'm a tire changer for the pit crews, for the NASCAR series and the ARCA series as well. How I moved out here to Charlotte just to do that, just to train and do that and become my job. Um, but NASCAR, they have this really cool initiative, NASCAR Drive for Diversity.
Yeah.
And of course, the ultimate goal is to diversify the sport. So being female, of course, that I was able to, be participating in NASCAR diversity. Um, but this was in 2016. I was still at Alcorn State doing my graduate assistant job, working on my master's at the same time, which I still have 3 more classes left I need to finish.
Not
Um,
not many. You get that done.
I know, yeah, I need to. But so they were going around to different universities and kind of recruiting former college athletes.
Yeah.
More so, I think they were looking for, the big football players, but I just happened to slide in there.
Uh-huh.
And because my strength coach, she told me, he's like, NASCAR's coming here. I want you to do it. And I was like, what am I doing? He was like, I don't really know, but he said it will take us places. I said, okay. And so we did like a physical tryout in our gym, in our school gym, and it was like agility, and we even did bench press, and it was more just to see where we're at mentally and physically. Of course,
Mhm.
not so much changing tires because none of us had ever done that
Right.
before.
Right.
But the idea behind it is to take college athletes and train them to become pit crew members. So from there, they finished their little tour going to universities and putting on this little tryout. And a month or so later, I was notified that I was one of the 20 selected to
Wow.
fly out to Charlotte for a national combine.
Nice.
Um,
Were you
yeah, so from there
surprised?
yeah, but I
Yeah.
was so excited. I remember I was on the treadmill and Coach Horton had texted the ones he selected from Alcorn, all of us in a group message. And I remember I was on the treadmill and I was like, and I hopped right off and I ran out the gym to go find Coach Prince so I could let him know because, he's the one that, pushed me towards it. And
Right.
I was excited, but I was excited, but I didn't even really know what I was excited for. I didn't know what I was getting myself into.
Uh-huh.
Um, so we came out here for the combine in May of 2016. And of course, we did more physical. It's kind of all of us from all the universities. Now we're all here in one place. We did our little physical tryout, and then we had a few hours to learn the equipment to run pit stops. And then they had us running live pit stops. Um, and that was that weekend we went to the Xfinity race, and that was my first NASCAR race ever. I had never even watched it on TV.
Okay.
Yeah, I had no knowledge of NASCAR. It wasn't my thing. I was outside, playing softball, playing tennis,
Right.
keeping up with baseball teams, and so it just
What
it,
did you think
we
of that, the first race? Like what did you concentrate on that day? Were you just like taking in the whole experience or were you trying to watch the pit crews or what was your focus that day?
yeah, because we were down in the pit, so of course I got to see everything up close. But at that time, I didn't know what I was looking at. It was just I was just like, whoa, this is so cool. I don't know what they do with this and this and this, but
Mhm.
I'm checking it all out. I just didn't understand it. And then about a month later, because I was like, oh, this is cool. Like
Yeah.
this is really their job is to go over the wall and change tires. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I could see myself. I mean, I know at this point other people probably couldn't see myself doing it, but I was like, oh, okay, like this is something I would definitely be interested in. And so, like a month later, Coach Horton, he had sent out an email and he was like, "You've been selected." So we moved. There was the 10 of us, so we were like, our class moved in September 1st of 2016, and from there he was like, "You're no longer stick and ball athletes. You are pit crew members."
Uh-huh.
So we just had to own it, and then we trained.
When
We
you
had
say you
2-day
train, what
trainings.
what what did you do? Was it strength training, practice, obviously practicing to change the tires, but what
Hmm.
other kind of trainings? What does that include?
So we would, yeah, weightlifting, of course, and we did do a little footwork as well, and a bunch of reps. We didn't even like get to hit our lug nuts with air. It was just taps, 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 taps for the longest time. Like, hands were hurting, hands were bruised, they were tore up, they were sore. It was it was rough. And we also even did like we kind of did classroom training as well, because none of us had NASCAR knowledge. We had
Right.
all come from playing sports, and we didn't know. None of us did. So we would sit down, and Coach Horton would give us he would kind of give us a lesson and then give us like a quiz afterwards. So we weren't, just walking around looking silly, not knowing what we were talking about.
Right.
Uh,
And
yeah.
don't you think, I mean, obviously part of any job is the knowledge of what you're doing and why you're doing it. I never
Yeah.
did like people just telling me, I need you to do this report. I want to know why it's important and what message, what information is it giving them. I want to know the why, not just do it. And I think that helps you
Exactly.
in your job, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It helps you kind of, uh, I guess, attach, because this, what we're doing to the sport as a whole,
Hmm.
just
Because
see the bigger picture.
you can make or break a team in the pit.
Yeah, especially as a tire changer. I mean, if you have a loose lug nut and your tire comes
Yeah.
flying off around turn 3, and that could be it. Yeah, that could be your
Right.
job, really.
Right.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah,
And it happens. It happens all the time. I mean, they're so
yeah.
fast at those stops that I can see how it'd be easy for one not to get completely on and tight. And, as a spectator, I mean, I've been up close to those pit stalls during a race, and you think it's fast on TV, folks. That's nothing like when you're standing there watching. And the whole
Yeah.
time, so let's talk a little bit about when you're a tire changer and you're in the, you're part of the pit crew while the car's racing. It seems like there's always some kind of job there. That pit crew is always like doing something, getting ready for the next one. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so I would like, after we do a stop, a lot of times it's, of course, the cleanup, clean up our box, so when we're coming back down again, we're not slipping on anything. We also I have to, maintenance my gun. I'll clean out my socket, re-oil it, wipe it down, get it ready again for the next stop. And then lots of times we re-glue, our set of tires that we just took off. We'll re-glue them in case we need to use them again, let them cool down, change the pressure, and get them ready to go back on. And then lots of times, and then after we're done, it's kind of like we can relax a little bit until the next one, just kind of focus on the next one.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So
So
you got your degree and you did the diversity program, which is
mhm.
amazing. I met
Yeah.
some people that run that, and we're going to actually have them on down the road.
Oh,
Um,
awesome.
so you're practicing. How do you then get chosen for a certain team, or is it you always maybe don't always work for the same team? How does that work?
So in my situation, because I'm not signed, like the teams that have their in-house pit crew members, they're signed, on contracts, year contracts, 3-year contracts. I'm considered an independent contractor.
Okay.
So we'll train at Rev Racing, who is, the partner team. They have the Drive for Diversity drivers, as well as that's where we train, is at Rev. So we'll train our first 6 months there, and then kind of get us ready for this season. So we'll start, September, and we won't do races. And then when season 2017 came around, we were getting ready for our first season. We
Okay.
were, so we get sent to Excalibur Pit School here
Oh,
in Mooresville. And from there, it's like we're contracted out essentially. So,
Okay.
you know, a team may come to Excalibur and be like, okay, so for this and this and this race, I'll need full pit crews. So
Okay.
and then he'll fill in the blanks and then send out the roster and the itinerary. So typically I'll find out Tuesday or Wednesday, the week of a race where
Wow.
I'm going.
That's
Yeah.
not very far ahead.
No,
No.
not at all. Yeah.
So tell me some people that you've been on the pit crew for.
I was full-time ARCA this year with Venerini Motorsports.
Yeah.
And it's cool because with them they had 3 female drivers this season.
Yeah.
And I actually this whole season I only pitted for female drivers in the ARCA series. I pit for Natalie, Leilani, and Tony.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that was fun. Like the Venerinis are just awesome. Like they're seriously an awesome team to work with, and
Yeah.
their drive as well to put women in
I
seats
know.
and get their opportunity. Yeah. So that was a cool experience. I think that was probably my favorite experience of this season
Okay.
so far. But I've also, you know, I've pit for Rick Ware Racing 2 times in the Cup Series, and I started out Xfinity with BJ McLeod as well, and I've pit for um, Jordan Anderson.
Okay.
This past weekend, I pit in Martinsville for the 63 truck, and with Mike Mittler, I believe, and we had who is in the hospital, so I got to be a part of that, like tribute to him, to stand, you know, for those laps, the 63
Nice.
laps. So that was cool. And mm, I also did get a pit here in Charlotte. I pit for Catherine. I don't know how to say her
Leg.
last name.
Catherine
Oh,
Leg.
okay. Catherine Leg.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a pit for her in the
Nice.
Xfinity race in Charlotte. So that was cool too. I think pitting for women always is pretty cool, like thing to say, because you know there's
Yeah.
not many of us out there. So for us to be on the same team, I'm like, oh, cool,
Absolutely.
cool, yeah.
So,
So,
love the Venerini team.
yes,
Absolutely.
yeah.
When I have a young gal that is doing a little bit of a mentoring program with our organization, and she was in Chicago, her and her dad with me, and it just so happened she was able to interview Billy Venerini. He was
Mm-hmm.
the sweetest person to her. It was her very first interview. She's 10.
Oh,
So being
oh,
10,
cute.
but he was just so sweet to her, and it's in our YouTube page. It was a great interview. And then she also interviewed that weekend Dale Jr., which just kind of happened, and it's such a cute
Oh,
interview. But
that's
yes,
awesome.
we follow Natalie. I followed Natalie for a while, and
Mm-hmm.
we've interviewed her several times and have been at their their garage area and stuff in the past. And then in Chicago, we met Leilani
Mm-hmm.
because all 3 of them raced there. And then I had met
Yeah.
Tony in Michigan. Tony wasn't racing; she was actually sitting in Natalie's um, pit box, and I just struck up
Mm-hmm.
a conversation with her. I didn't know who she was at the time, and then since then we've developed a friendship, and we've had her on our show as well. So I love that team because they really
Yeah.
do promote the women, and not because they're just women. They got to be good at what they're
So
doing
yeah.
too.
Oh
So
yeah.
it's not just because they're a girl, but he does look to help the women. And I know his wife
Mm-hmm.
also is a big
Oh
fan
yes.
of the women.
Yeah, I love her. Yeah, they're all awesome. I actually did. I pit for Tony for her first ARCA race.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I was on her pit crew. Yeah.
That's cool to
So
be a part of that, isn't it?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
it always is.
absolutely. Wonderful girls too. I just love them all. They're awesome.
Yeah.
So how did you get chosen then to be the tire changer? Is that like when you first went to the school, did you learn lots of different things, or did they train you to be a tire changer?
So for position wise, when Coach Horton had come to Alcorn, he had told me you're going to be a tire changer. It's based on size,
Uh-huh.
of course. Yeah. So for me to be the jack man or a carrier just doesn't seem feasible.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah. So it's based on size. So I knew from the get go that if I were
Okay.
to make it, then I would be a tire changer.
All right. And
Yeah.
were there other girls, I assume, that went through that same school like with you that same year?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I was the only girl from Alcorn
Okay.
that did it. It was like me and then ten football players. And then at the combine, I believe there was five of us, five females. And then from there, me and she's actually my roommate, and her name is Breanna.
Hmm.
She she got selected, so me and her are still out here changing tires.
Okay.
So
So ARCA's done, the rest of the racing's almost done. So what do you do the rest of the time when you're not doing that?
I still practice, but now off season is kind of a time to focus on not on the pit stop as a whole, but on me, my drills. I can just go and reps and reps and reps, and because typically if I'll go with my group on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and we'll do 4 full pit stops to get us ready for the race. And then off season is I have more time to focus on me and what I need to work on to get better
Okay.
at.
Okay. So that's basically your full-time job, is to be a tire specialist. So I'm, get nosy. I'm not going to ask you how much they pay you, but so who pays you then? Is it like the team that obviously the team that goes to the school and says I need a pit crew? Obviously they're paying, but who
Mhm.
pays you when that there's not you're not pitting for somebody?
If I don't do a race, then I'm not getting a paycheck.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
what I wondered. Okay,
hmm Yeah,
so
since there's no like yearly contract for me,
right.
like a salary or something.
That's what I wondered. So
Yeah.
then you probably
hmm
have to work or go back to school or do something besides being the tire changer, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what do you do then when you're not involved in the motorsports?
I actually just started like a full-time job at Lithium Hub. I've been here like a month maybe.
Okay.
Um, so I do that. When during this season, I had a part-time job. So if I was home on weekends, I would go to work. I worked
Okay.
at Nike at the mall,
Hmm.
but they had like a policy change because my managers had allowed because it's retail, so obviously they want you on weekends. But
Right.
my managers had allowed me to, you know, get the weekends off so I could be at the racetrack and not worry about my shifts and stuff. But
Right.
not Nike as a whole had like a policy change for availability.
Okay.
So I had to leave. So I took about a 3.5 month break where I was just practicing and I was just going to races.
Hmm.
Um, and then I just happened to this job kind of landed in my lap a little bit. Um, and I'm very thankful that it did. So
Yeah.
that's what I'll be doing in off season is working over here.
Okay. So what do you do there? What's your job?
Um, so we have a product. It's like a jump booster, and
Okay.
it's designed to jumpstart semi trucks. It's like a lithium battery. So I I kind of handle the orders and shipping and receiving, and communicate with the customers like through email and
Okay.
yep,
Sounds good. It's good that you
yeah,
have that, to back up. And then obviously that's probably a 8 to 5 or 9 to 5 job. And then you've got your weekends that you can still do your tire changing. That's awesome. So
yeah. It
I
works out perfectly, and it's actually oh
no, go
sorry
ahead.
oh it's actually in the same shop as where I practice at. So
Okay.
it's a 30-second walk to practice after work. So
Very good. You're a
yeah,
smart girl. That's a
yeah,
good deal right there. So I
yeah, it
know
works out.
you and you say your name Brianna, right?
Yep.
and she says the other girl is Breanna.
Yep, Breanna.
Right. So somebody
Yeah.
had told me about the two of you. And
Mhm.
so I've kind of been following and watching, not stalking, following and watching.
Mhm.
So that's how I came to want to have you on the Masterclass series, because so many girls that I interview, and women too, their goal is to be a NASCAR driver, or to,
Mhm.
the top of the world for them, where we all have to be realistic and know that that's not going to happen for all these girls. And instead
Mhm.
of being disappointed and thinking that being the driver is the most important thing, it really, there's a lot of other jobs that are very important. If
Yeah.
you mess up as a tire changer, it can lose your driver the race. So everybody has to be the best they can be, and there's so many opportunities in motorsports for women besides the driver. So
Right.
could you talk a little bit about, what you experienced and why it's a good sport for women to get involved in, and maybe some other jobs that you could let our listeners know what other positions are there that women could do in motorsports?
Um, I think as far as like, you know, taking a different career path, aside from being a driver, but still being in NASCAR, I
Hmm.
think, and if you're working hard and you're, focused on what you have to get done and you're not letting people tell you what you can and cannot do, then I think, of course, like there's endless possibilities. But I've seen at the track, I see tire specialists, I've seen engineers, female engineers out there, even well, I don't know what their title would be, but I guess PR.
Right.
They're very important to the team because they get everybody where they got to be when they got to be there. And I don't know, I think there's still a lot of positions that I was never aware of in NASCAR. I didn't know it took this many people to even run one team.
Right.
um there's still a lot to learn, but I've been seeing a lot more female officials actually out at the track.
I
Yeah.
I saw that too in Chicago. I
Yeah.
thought more female officials than I had seen before.
Yeah.
That's a cool job.
I know. I think that too. I'm like, man, they're so cool because I wouldn't have like whatever make you get into being a NASCAR official, but yeah, every so often I see like a new female out there, and I'm like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know Elizabeth Prostella. She's a tire specialist. You probably know her.
Mhm.
She's on the Cup team, the
Mhm.
Chris Buescher team. So I know her fairly well. And then the lady that flags ARCA. Do you know her, Denise? That's the flagger for ARCA. She's
Yeah.
she's become a friend of mine, and met her.
That's
She's,
awesome.
that's a cool story. Her too. So there's a lot of opportunity, I think, in motorsports for women. Would you suggest to women that it is a good arena to get into, or what's your thought about that?
Yeah, I definitely think so. And maybe not even on like a personal level, but like if you want to do it, go for it because you're leading the way for so many people behind you. If they see you do it because you were fearless and you went for it, then then other people will be like, oh, I can do it too. I can be out there. And
Yeah, absolutely. I love the fact. How old are you?
26.
26. So you were basically 24 or so when you got chosen, because I think you said
Yep.
2016. So,
Yep.
the nice thing that I hear your story is that you went to college, you were passionate about softball, so you went to college, you worked hard. It's whether it's softball or motorsports or tennis or whatever, you had to
Right.
have worked hard to get to college to play. I know that for a
Right.
fact. And now that's led you to a career that you never even dreamed of, didn't even know existed. So
Yeah.
there's so many opportunities for girls, but the thing that I like about your story is that college was also still important. So you
Oh
went to
yeah.
college, and And now, you're very close to your master's degree, which is amazing. I know how much work that is. And
Yeah.
yet you're able to combine all those things with your tire changing. And they're not looking just, I don't think, just for athletes that are strong. They're looking for smart people too, aren't they?
Yeah, because definitely it takes a lot to learn. There's so much, especially if you have no experience, then everything is brand new. It's like a baby learning to walk or a kid learning to ride a bike. You know nothing. There's no experience. Oh, okay.
No, you're good.
And so just like you your mental just has to be there really.
To learn the tools, what the tools do. If the tool breaks, you probably have to know how to fix it.
Hmm.
So it takes people who can learn quickly. And, I hate to
Yeah.
say it, but that are smart people because they want the very best on
Mhm.
that crew. And I know they go after athletes. I've heard that before. And when I first heard
Yeah.
that, I was surprised. And yet it makes so much sense because they're already in shape from whatever sport they've been in. And when
Yeah.
you look at those pit crew members, there's no really chubby people on there. They're pretty much all in shape, aren't they?
Yeah. 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 Just about.
Yeah. And it's probably
And it's
year round that you have to stay in shape because even though they're done racing on the track, the work doesn't stop. It really starts
no,
over.
and yeah, and then the season, of course, is so long that you have to keep up with something so that you're able to make it the whole season.
Right. Right. You can't just stop.
Yeah.
It's a year round
Mm.
deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So what can you tell me about anything that I haven't asked you about? Is there anything that you'd like to share about your journey to get there? Anything at all that I might not have thought to ask you that you could share about what you're doing and maybe like what do you want to do in the future? Do you want to stay and try to get a contract with the team, or what's your focus and your goals?
Okay. I think something to note is that if you want to, go far or make it or be successful, you have to be willing to listen. You have to be coachable.
Hmm.
Because if I go into this acting like I know everything, I wouldn't have ever learned anything. I had to have an open mind and open ears to people who have done that and been successful and seen everything. I had to take in a lot. And with this diversity program, it was really cool because we had we basically had like mentors, come to practice because we all kind of look out for each other. And so, the guys who had been through the program and are signed up to cup teams will come out to practice and help us out. And so I think it takes a village to
Hmm.
create a pit crew member. If I didn't have, Phil Horton, Red Racing, the diversity program, the guys at Excalibur, if I didn't have all of them, I wouldn't be where I am. It's taken everybody from support to coaching to just helping me stay calm. Just it's been a team effort to get me here, and just I hope that people realize that you can't do things on your own in
Right.
this sport and expect to get where you want to go.
Yeah, so true. So what's the fastest pit stop you've ever had? Do you know?
Um, I try not to pay too much attention to the times, but I know one time I had a 13.9, and when they had first changed to the 5-man pit stops,
Yeah.
it's because and I remember that because this boy always at practice he's like, hey, 13.9. So
Nice.
probably of 13 and a half seconds.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
pretty fast. Yeah.
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 And crazy that they're even faster than that.
Oh yeah, because there's 10
Yeah.
and 11-second pit stops in
Yeah.
Cup Series. Absolutely.
Yeah. Hmm.
So are you pretty much done then for the season as far as actual tire changer, and now you're in the practice mode and working in that, or will you have a chance maybe to to do it one more time, because Xfinity and Trucks and Cup are still going for a few weeks.
Yeah, everybody's still running. I know. I don't believe I'll be in Texas or Phoenix. I'm hoping for Homestead because, of course, it's the last race. So,
Yeah.
there will be lots of people running. So I'm hoping I'll be in Homestead. But if
Okay.
not, I mean, I still have the Snowball Derby in December.
Okay.
But yeah, I think my work is winding down for me.
Yeah.
As far as this season goes. But
so, do you have any idea typically the age of a pit crew member? Does age have anything to do with it? I mean, are there older guys still doing it, or is there kind of a cutoff?
I would say, as if a team was selecting, pit crew members, yeah, there would be like a cutoff. Probably, I wouldn't know what it was.
Okay.
I'm not good at like being able to look at people and tell how old they are.
No, I'm
But
not good at that either.
yeah, I'm not. So
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Okay. Because basketball players and football players and all those guys, there's kind of a limit to the length of time they can do all that. But I was just curious about that.
Yeah, I would
So,
say the same, which would be true in pit crew.
yeah, I kind of thought so, because that jumping over the
Yeah.
wall, you can only do that when you're so
Right.
young, and then eventually the
Yeah.
ladies don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't really have any other questions. You've done a great job of explaining what you're doing. Do you have anything else that you want to share about what you do, your job, anything like that?
I do, because I think sometimes people have this idea of diversity and that things are just handed to people.
Mm-hmm.
But I just hope people understand that all of us, we work hard, and like and will be forever thankful that this opportunity ever, came in front of me. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm working hard and I'm taking full advantage like of this opportunity. And I hope people know that there is hard work, behind this. There wasn't just a handout.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because they're going to pick the best. There's
Yeah, exactly.
absolutely. Yeah, that's a good reminder for
Yeah.
people too. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So Snowball Derby for sure. You're going to be there. I'm hoping that I'm going to get there
Yeah.
this year. So hopefully I'll see you
Oh,
then.
fun.
Can you
Yeah.
tell me where, if people wanted to follow you or kind of see like where you're going to be and that your social media, can you tell us where we could follow?
Yeah. So of course all my handles are different, but my Twitter, I'm usually tweeting where I'll be, and what race I'm doing, and that's Bree O'Leary 3. It's BREOLEARY, and then the number 3.
Okay.
That's my Twitter, and then my Instagram is real easy. It's BNO123.
All right.
But that's like a mix of my personal life and then my racetrack pictures and stuff. So that's
Okay.
so yeah.
All right. Sounds good. And do you use Facebook very much or no?
Yeah, I do. I actually post a lot of racing stuff on Facebook just so it can reach my family. But that's just my name, yeah, Breanna
Yeah.
O'Leary.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Because I know we
So,
like to connect everybody and follow the people that we have and have had a connection to. So I wanted to be sure
yeah.
that the people that are going to be able to watch this are going to be able to follow you and follow your career, because who knows what's in store for you next year and after that.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, hopefully big things.
Absolutely. So,
Yeah.
Breanna, thank you so much for taking time. I know you're at work today, and I appreciate that you took time out of the middle of the day to spend an hour or so with us and help our young gals understand that there's so much more to the world of motorsports. Team owners, all kinds of things. We could probably have a big long list if we really thought about it. So to be able to hear your story and know that education is important, hard work is important, and all those things, they get you where you want to go. And that's a good lesson for everybody, young and old. So I appreciate those words, and good luck in your job. It's new, so good luck there. And hopefully we'll be seeing you at a racetrack soon.
Yeah, I hope so.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Breanna.
Well, Thanks for having me.
Uh huh.